Curtis A reached out to me, said make a theme song for my show. Said alright, just give me all the details, man. And my homie says he don't know. Well, if you're gonna pay me big bucks, cause I might should have something to say. He said, you know what I bring, I'm the customizing king, nothing else matters anyway. So is he gonna have guests? I don't know. Is he gonna go live? I don't know. What time will it be? What will you see? I'm pretty much in the dark, but I can guarantee he'll be customizing action figures, getting paint all on his fingers. It's art by Akerman. It's art by Akerman. Tips and tricks and conversation, sharing his gift with every nation. It's art by Akerman. Art by Akerman. You best get ready, cause now it's time for Art by Akerman.
All right, welcome back, folks. Doing a quick video tutorial today on this boot cut thing that I've done here for this skeleton He-Man. So normally these boots go on the barbarian, legendary barbarian. So they've got this like, you know, the human skin from the knee down, and then this plugs into that boot. Typically the skeleton does not have something like that that would go into the boot. So in order to make this look, you've got to modify that lower leg. So that's what we've done here. You can see on this figure here, it just kind of goes down into that boot. The way that we've done this, you still have full articulation on the boot. So it twists back and forth. But unless you really pull at it, it's not popping off. So how we've done that is we've sliced off part of the leg here and then dremeled around this to make kind of a tapered post. So at the end it's wider, and then as it gets closer towards the middle of the bone, it goes in a little bit. That way, if you heat this up or if you just kind of push it in there, it takes a little bit of pressure to get it in, but once you get it in, because it's tapered at the end, it stays in and you still have that articulation. Now, you could just kind of make this an even post all the way around and put it in here and glue it, but you would not have the articulation there still, or it would just kind of fall off and pop off if you didn't glue it. We wanted to maintain that articulation and still have it to where, when you go like this, it's not going to fall off. So I'm working on a few of these here for a good friend, Brett Stoddard. He has some amazing photography. If you haven't checked that out, Tidy on Instagram. So you see, I've already cut some of these skeleton legs here. I'm getting ready to start dremeling those into the post. But I wanted to take you, we're also going to do a couple of these graveyard skeletons to kind of take you through that process. So first things first, I'm just going to pop off the foot here. And then I will take this one to use as like a pattern, I guess. So this is one of the ones that I had already previously worked on. And then what I'll do is I'll pop off this leg. Okay, I ended up just heating up and popping off both legs. So here's our graveyard skeleton with no legs now. And then here are our lower legs. And what we're gonna do is use this as kind of our pattern to see where we need to cut it off. And then I'm just gonna take this micron pen. This is a micron 003, and just draw a little line on here where I want to slice it. So kind of just holding this next to it. Actually, let me just put it down on the table. That way you can see it maybe a little bit easier. So just trying to line these up to where they're about the same at the top, and then figure out where I need to draw the line here on this one. So right about there, right? So that's where I'm going to cut for the bottom of that. And then from there, I'm gonna, Dremel that post. So that will be like where I'm cutting here will be like the bottom of this part, right? And then I gotta go up a bit to make that post part. So I'm gonna cut it right there. Same thing on this one. So we'll just do this up here in our hand. And this doesn't have to be exact because we're going to Dremel this down after the fact anyways for the post. You don't want to cut it too short, but if you make it a little bit too long, like you can see these ones that I've cut before, They may be just a slight bit longer than where that bottom of that post comes down. But it's better to be too long than too short, because you can always Dremel it down a little bit more as we go to that next step. So then I'm going to take my rotary tool. A lot of people just say they're grabbing the Dremel. I usually do that. I'll say I'm grabbing the Dremel, but Dremel is a brand name. This is a rotary tool. This one is Dipstitch. It is a cordless one that is, you plug it in to recharge it. I've tried a few different cordless ones. A lot of times they don't have the same kind of power as what a corded one does. You can't do as much with it. This one I've really liked. It's got 5 different settings on here, and so you can go up and down on the speed, and the attachments change out really easily. So there's just this button here on the end. You push that button, you twist this, and then your attachments can come in and out. So I'm not sure if this is an attachment that came with it or if I bought it separately, because I've had several different rotary tools and attachments over the years. But basically I'm using this like saw one to do the initial cut of the leg. And then I'm going to use this kind of barrel shaped, you might call that a diamond bit. I'm not sure, but it's like this barrel shaped one with kind of blades on it, right? And I'm going to use that to go around that and make that post here. So as I go around that, I'm going to be trying to kind of push in on this to make it tapered on the inside, but make it wider on the towards the end. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm holding this at an angle as I'm going around this, so that it's leaving that end part a little bit wider. Like I said, you don't want it to be the same diameter on the post on the end as it is in the middle. Otherwise it's just going to pop right out of the boot. So you want to have it a little bit tapered. So starting with this one, we're just going to cut off this first part of the leg. I will try to turn down, I won't turn off the volume, but I'll turn down the volume on this section so it's not so loud. But here it is. Okay, so now I've got, that bottom section off, which is just like the ankle, or the, just above the ankle for the skeleton. So put that to the side. We'll just kind of hold these side by side and take a look. You can see pretty much about the same. This one might actually be a little bit shorter, but I think we're fine. So, and then this one, we're going to do the same thing. So now you've got that one cut as well. Put this over to the side. And I think this one is a little bit longer, but we'll take care of that as we're dremeling the post. So yeah, you can see there's a little difference there, but that's okay. We've also got another set that we're gonna do here. So we got another graveyard skeleton. Gonna do the same thing, pop out the feet. Well, I'll pop out the feet and legs, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we got those lower legs off. Here they are. We're going to do the same kind of thing here, but I'm going to show you a different way of doing this in case you don't have a Dremel. So here, we'll just get our initial line on here. Once again, grabbing that like micron 3 pin, and you could really use anything. You're just marking it here, like where it should go. So mark it around there. Looks about right. Yep. And then same thing on this side. So around there. All right. Now we're going to try to do this a little differently, and I've not done it this way before, but I'm pretty sure this will work because of this plastic. And what we're going to do is we're going to heat this up and try using our X-Acto knife instead. to cut this initial post off. So I'm going to get out the heat gun. Once again, I will kind of turn down the volume on this part just so it's not so loud, but I still want you to kind of hear and see what's going on. So as you saw there, as I was moving that, I was heating it, I was moving it around. You don't want to just hold it still on there. It can easily melt this stuff. But you see it becomes pliable when you heat it up, right? So what we're going to do is, I'm talking about it now, but I'm going to heat it back up again. And we're going to try to heat it to the point where we can just slice this with an X-Acto knife instead of the Dremel or rotary tool. So let me just heat it up some more. All right, and then we're just going to take our X-Acto knife and we're going to find that line and we're just going to cut that. So there you go. We've cut off that piece, and if we put that back up to our one with the pattern, you can see pretty good. Not too hard. You just got to add a little bit of heat and that works just as well, if not even possibly a little better than the saw blade. Just takes a little bit more work. So we'll do the second one. Okay, get that heated up pretty well, a little flexible. And we're just gonna take that knife and there we go, pop it off. So now we've got all of our legs done. Now typically what I would do is I would switch out this rotary tool bit and I would go to this one. So I'm gonna show you with this and then we'll see if we can't figure out a way to do it without this. That might be a little bit more tricky. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm trying to basically make a post like this, right? So I'm gonna start going around this and make it smaller. You wanna do it gradually, a little bit at a time, because you don't want to take it down too much to where it doesn't stay in the boot. You don't want it to just fall out. So we're gonna take it down a little bit, check it out. Take it down a little bit, check it out. And eventually when you get it to the point where you like it, you don't want it, like if you look at this one that I've done previously, right? You don't want it to just fit right in. You don't want it to just slide in there. You want it to be tight to where you either have to heat this up in order to pop it on, or even you might have to use a little bit of pressure to where it pops in place, okay? So that's what we're gonna do, is we're going to work on this part of it here and try to get it down to that point where it'll pop in rather than just sliding in, okay? Let me move this over. Turn down the volume a little bit on this section, but once again, want you to kind of see and hear what's going on. So, and we're looking for about like that. So that's what we're trying to go for here. So. Every now and then you may need to pull some of this stuff off of here, this kind of, you know, plastic that's fraying a bit, just to kind of see where we're at. So you can see the start of that. I don't want it so small that it pops right in. You can see it's still way bigger than that hole, but I also need more peg here, so I need to go up higher. some of that off. Check this again. I could start to get it in there. It looks like the end is now about where I want it. So I don't want to go any smaller on the end, but I need this part to go a little bit higher, and I need to taper in a little bit more. So I'm avoiding this bottom part now, and I'm going up higher. Okay, so now we'll check this in our boot, and pretty good. Now it's not like popping in there, but it is enough that it's going to stay. And if I turn it, I still get that articulation that I'm looking for, right? So I can still get the articulation, still get the movement if we want to change, move that boot around. But it doesn't just fall out. So there we go. Now, if you you don't want to go too small on this, but if you did end up going a little bit small, what you could do is just add a little layer of, either nail polish, or you could get some of this like liquid green stuff and just kind of build this up a little bit so that it makes more of a pop on there when it goes in. But you can see like I got to pull on that in order to get it to come out. It's not just coming out on its own. The other thing you can do is heat up this boot a little bit, squeeze it a little bit, and kind of tighten up that hole. It's a real good tip for like if you've got a loose like elbow or something like that, is heat up the hole, kind of squeeze it a little bit, and then let it cool. Hit it, put it in a freezer or something for 5 minutes. And that'll shrink that hole a little bit. So then when you go to put the peg in, it locks a little bit better. So there's that one lower leg done. All the rest of these to go, but it's basically the same kind of format as far as the Dremel goes. Now, let's see if we can't do one without a Dremel. This one might be a little bit tricky. But not all you may not have a Dremel, so let's see what we can figure out. And I'm just going to try to whittle some of this down a bit. So I'm taking an X-Acto knife. You want to make sure that you're really careful with your X-Acto knife. Have a very sharp blade on it, because the sharper your blade, the easier it's going to go through the plastic, and the less likely you are for it to catch and then cut yourself. You just want to just be very careful with this as you go. So I'm just kind of whittling a little bit of this away. Now, like I was saying before, you want the end to be fatter than the inside. So you really kind of want to go inward on this, but you want it to be even as well. So I would not advise doing it this way, but if you don't have a rotary tool or a Dremel and you need to figure out something, I want to try to figure out if there's a way to do it for folks that don't have that. You'll see on these other ones that I've done that bone is just kind of cut off there. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just kind of cutting off this extra bone for the post. And I'm actually going to heat this up a little bit. This is kind of an experimental one, so that I can see if I can help you guys that don't have a rotary tool. So if we mess it up, what I'll do is I'll just grab another one of my graveyard skeletons and fix his leg up for Brett, because don't want him to end up with one that didn't work, but I think we might be able to get it. We'll just need to kind of play around with this a bit. So I'm just kind of whittling it away, being very careful, you know. You don't want to slice into your other hand or anything like that. So just kind of slowly working at this, taking some of that down. If you're cutting away from yourself, that's the best way to do it. The only problem is that, like I said, we want that end to be the fattest part. So you're not going to be able to do that as easily cutting away from yourself. So, and then, you know, so I've gotten some of the big plastic off of there at this point. And now what I may do is just get out my sanding sticks and see if we can't finish this up where we need it to be. So that's starting to come along, but let me grab my sanding sticks. So these you can get on Amazon. They are fairly cheap. They are awesome. They've got these tapered ends on them that help you get into tight spaces. And then it's got the fatter parts here that help you get into, you know, bigger spaces or to, you know, not take so long as the small space. But it goes from 80 all the way up to, I believe, 7,000. So you can get, you know, you can start pretty rough and you can get it almost to like a glass finish with like this 7,000, just depending on what kind of finish you're trying to go with. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of, I'm angling this a bit to where I'm trying to go more deeper on this backside than on the end, right? And I'm just going to kind of sand this a bit. This is going to be much more effective with it cool than it is with it hot. So whereas you want to maybe heat it up if you're using the X-Acto knife, when it comes to the sanding, you want to have it cool because you want this to be hard, so that you can kind of sand this down. So, and this, you know, while not as fast as the rotary tool, should potentially work. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to work the rest of this and do it in fast motion so that you can still see what's going on, but it doesn't take you, you know, the next hour or so. So here we go. Okay, let's take a look. So we've cut a little bit with the X-Acto knife. We've sanded it a bit. We've now heated the boot, and let's see, moment of truth. All right, pretty good fit. There we go. We've still got articulation, twist, and nice pop. So yeah, that definitely did work. You know, I think for the most part, got a little bit of a notch right here, but I think when you put it in the boot, yeah, you really can't see that. So I think we might be good. I might try to clean this up a little bit right here, this little notch. Just try to sand that down. But I think we got a pretty good fit on there. So it looks like, you know, you definitely can do it with some sanding sticks and an X-Acto knife. Definitely wouldn't be my preferred method just for time's sake. But definitely a way that you could accomplish that same kind of thing. So here we go with our two together. Yeah, and then those will just kind of, you heat up the boot, pop them in, and now you've got those little kind of half leg, you know, skeleton leg in the boot. there you go. So those are the mods. The one done with a Dremel, one done with an X-Acto knife and sanding sticks. Either method would definitely work. So yeah, hope that helps you guys. And you know, let me know in the comments if you have any other things you'd like to see me try, or any questions that you have. Also, feel free to join as a member here. We got memberships now for $1.99. Helps kind of, you know, it provides stuff like this for, you know, whether it's sanding sticks or the Dremel tool or any of these things that we either test out or do tutorials with. I appreciate all of our members so far. As of this video, I've got 40 members currently, so appreciate you guys. And like I said, I hope this video helped you guys. And until next time, keep creating, folks.